My basic argument is that in the last decade of the Cold War, it made eminently good sense for the United States to ally itself with China and to help China grow economically, because that would make China more powerful and it would allow China to be a good ally for purposes of balancing against the Soviet Union. But then when the Cold War ended in 1989, the question on the table was, how should the United States think about dealing with China? And the fact is that China was a very poor country in 1989, but it had a huge population advantage over the United States. And therefore, there was a real danger if we helped China grow economically, given its population advantage. If it became rich, if it became prosperous with all those people, it would be a threat to the United States. In effect, it would be a peer competitor. What happened over the course of the 90s and really the first 20 years of this new century is that the United States foolishly pursued a policy of engagement which was designed to make China richer, to make it wealthier. It's very important to understand that we help China, we, the United States, and of course the Australians, the Japanese, and so forth and so on, went along with us. We made China into a powerful country in East Asia. And China is now at a point where it is determined to dominate all of Asia, to become a regional hegemon. The United States, of course, and the Australians are bent on preventing China from dominating Asia for good strategic reasons. But the end result of all this is that we're effectively in a new Cold War. We have an intense security competition on our hands, and this is a very dangerous competition.
Okay, so succinctly summarised, your argument is that once China grew wealthy as a result of Western engagement, particularly US engagement in the 1990s and the 2000s, that a US-China great power competition was inevitable. And had US policymakers understood the realist logic, your logic, John, of great power conflict in the early 1990s, they would have tried to slow down Chinese growth and maximize the power gap between Beijing and Washington. That's your line, right?
That's exactly right, Tom. And the fact is, as you well know, in the early 1990s, most people thought that realism was dead, or that balance of power politics was dead. Great power war was off the table forever, and that people like me were dinosaurs. So when I made the argument loudly and clearly starting in early 2001, that we were in trouble and we should do what we can to slow down China, nobody wanted to hear that argument.
Okay, so instead of fostering harmonious relations between China and the US, as the conventional wisdom said it would in the 1990s and 2000s, all engagements done has led to this intense security competition. The question here is, what course then should have been conducted, and how would that have changed where we are now?
Well, it's very important to understand that in 1990, China was a backward country economically. It had 1/75th the per capita GNP of the United States. And per capita GNP is a really good indicator of just how wealthy a country is. So this was a backward country, but it was deeply committed to growing economically, to becoming prosperous. So the question is, what should the United States do? A good realist like me would say that it's obvious that what the United States should do is do everything possible to slow down Chinese economic growth. And here we're talking about the fact that China depended on US markets, US technology, and US capability to grow. And with regard to those markets, we should have gone to great lengths to slow down trade with China, to not give them any special deals, which we did do. We certainly should have not welcomed them into the WTO. And as far as technology is concerned, we should have gone to great lengths to prevent technology transfers to China. And we should have gone to great lengths to limit foreign direct investment in China. And we did none of those things. And in fact, we did the opposite.
And the result is we're now in deep trouble, you say, and there is little we can do to change the situation. Tell us more.
Look, the fact is, Tom, from Beijing's point of view, it makes eminently good sense to want to dominate Asia, just the way the United States dominates the Western Hemisphere. The Chinese have no interest in having the Americans in their backyard any more than we, the United States, have an interest in having China in our backyard. That's why we have the Monroe Doctrine. So once you take a country with that large a population and you make it really wealthy, it is going to have the wherewithal to take efforts or to take measures to try to dominate its region of the world. And of course, the United States is going to try to prevent that. So what we did was we created a situation where China was powerful enough or is powerful enough to try to dominate Asia.